The fresh murder charges that have been added to Lil Durk's case are alarming. It finds out Durk was out here playing 3D chess on everyone, from going to LA to observe one of his OPs being murked to paying informants to mislead police. I don't believe Von paid these men. I'm sorry to inform the world that the OTF boss could really get roasted since the feds are now going to utilize the rapper lyrics in court. Is this the end for Lil Durk? Let's find out. Lil Durk hit with new charges when Lil Durk was arrested back in late October. The world knew that he was in for hiring OTF members to murder fellow rapper Quando Rondo. However, 2 weeks later, the rapper is facing new charges, and it's way worse than anyone thinks because some of the new details emerging are nothing short of shocking right now. The indictment charges Lil Durk with 1 count of conspiracy and 1 count of using interstate facilities to commit murder for hire, resulting in death, and 1 count of using, carrying, and discharging firearms, including a machine gun, in furtherance of a crime of violence resulting in death. The charges were serious, carrying the potential for a life sentence if convicted. The indictment reveals how the plot unfolded, and the new details the feds have made public might actually cook Durkio, according to the feds. The story starts with the sad murder of Chicago rapper King Von in 2020. King Von's death sent shockwaves across the music business and began a chain of events that would ultimately lead to the arrest of numerous OTF members. The federal indictment also indicates that 5 persons linked with OTF: Kellon, London Grant, Dondre Wilson, Keith Jones, David Brian Lindsay, and Asa Houston were charged in Los Angeles with plotting to kill rapper Quando Rondo. This plot is believed to be a retaliatory act linked to the circumstances surrounding King Von's death. The indictment shows how the feds uncovered a web of connections and communications that suggested a coordinated effort to target Quando Rondo. It turns out that OTF members allegedly conspired to carry out the murder for a higher plot, which ultimately led to their arrests. The 5 men used OTF-affiliated credit cards to book flights and rental vehicles to the location of the killing, and now they are confronted with significant allegations of murder for hire, including a fatality and the use of a machine gun in a violent crime. The indictment connects the animosity between Quando Rondo and V back to an encounter outside an Atlanta nightclub where V physically assaulted Quando Rondo, escalating into gunshots. CCTV footage showed V approaching fellow rapper Quando Rondo and punching him to the ground. V's guys joined in and started raining blows on Quando as he tried to get away from his attackers. One of Q's homeboys, Tim, appeared from behind their vehicle with a gun in hand and started letting off shots as everyone ran away. Von was hit on his torso and later died from his gunshot wounds while in the hospital. For Lil Durk, the death of his friend was not only a personal tragedy but also the start of his beef with Quando Rondo. Rumors began to circulate that Durk had placed a bounty on Rondo's head. Turns out it was actually true, according to court documents. An OTF member told cops that after Von's death, Durk used coded language to tell OTF members that he would pay a bounty to anyone who would take part in killing Quando Rondo. Durk's cousin, Dondre Wilson, also told OTF members that anyone who took part in the murder would be rewarded with lucrative music opportunities with OTF. In August 2022, the matter reached a boiling pitch, according to the federal court filings. Lil Durk's associates allegedly learned that Quando Rondo was staying at a hotel in Los Angeles. This information set off a chain of events that would culminate in a carefully planned murder plot. On August 18, 2022, a carefully orchestrated plan was set into motion aiming to ambush and eliminate Quando Rondo in the heart of Los Angeles. The facts of this conspiracy, as disclosed in federal court documents, give a chilling picture of the depths to which people were ready to go in pursuit of vengeance. The day started with Lil Durk's associates Dondre Wilson, Keith Jones, David Lindsay, and Asa Houston arriving in Los Angeles. They had traveled from Chicago to San Diego and then driven to Los Angeles, allegedly using funds provided by Durk himself. The group was determined to carry out their mission with precision and stealth, avoiding any direct links to Durk by following his alleged instructions to avoid booking flights under names associated with him. The feds revealed that they obtained information from Durk's iCloud where he warned them not to book anything in his name. However, despite the warning, they still went ahead and booked the flights using a credit card linked to Lil Durk and OF. Upon their arrival, the OTF members met with Con Grant, a top associate who had flown to Los Angeles on a private jet. Now, this is where things get interesting because the updated indictment has a new chilling detail. It turns out that Con Grant didn't fly alone. Lil Durk was with him, and that's some very damaging information. Grant played a major part in arranging the operation, procuring hotel rooms for the group, purchasing ski masks, and getting 2 luxury automobiles to be used in the ambush, according to court papers. Grant also provided Jones, Lindsay, and an unidentified third man with firearms, including one that had been converted into a machine gun, further escalating the potential for violence. As the day unfolded, the group allegedly began tracking Quando Rondo as he traveled around Los Angeles in a Cadillac Escalade. Their journey took them to various locations, including a marijuana dispensary and a clothing store in West In the heart of Los Angeles, amidst the shimmering glamour of Beverly Hills, a dramatic and tragic series of events unfolded on a fateful day, casting a shadow over Hollywood's bright lights. The climax of this disturbing tale took place at a gas station directly across from the Beverly Center, a popular shopping destination where the notorious conflict between two sides took a deadly turn. Asa Houston, a key figure in the unfolding drama, allegedly parked his vehicle behind the gas station, setting the stage for an ambush that would soon spiral into violence. The suspects, including Houston's associates Jones, Lindsay, and an unidentified third man, exited their car with chilling precision, fully armed and ready to execute their deadly plan. At that moment, Quando Rondo, along with his cousin El Pab and Robinson, arrived at the gas station. Without warning, the attackers opened fire, unloading a barrage of bullets aimed at Rondo, the primary target. In the chaos that followed, Rondo miraculously escaped unscathed, but the outcome was far more tragic for El Pab, who was standing outside the Escalade. He was struck by the gunfire and tragically lost his life in the hail of bullets. Despite the gunfire and the carnage, Rondo's life was spared, though his cousin's death would forever haunt him. As the gunfire echoed in the streets of Los Angeles, the suspects fled the scene and regrouped at an In-N-Out hamburger stand. It was here, in the aftermath of the failed ambush, that they reportedly discussed their payment for the execution attempt with Kyon Grant, another individual allegedly involved in the plot. This meeting was a critical moment that linked the suspects to the broader network of individuals involved in the planned attack. Soon after, the group made their way back to Chicago, flying from San Diego as authorities began piecing together the details of the brazen assault. As investigators dug deeper into the conspiracy, it was revealed that the man who had financed the attack, equipping and later paying off the shooters, had flown to Los Angeles just hours before the shooting. Even more damning was the revelation that the payments had been made using credit cards linked to none other than Chicago rapper Lil Durk and his label OTF. The use of these cards was a clear trail leading directly to Durk, further complicating an already tense situation for the rapper. Authorities, now fully aware of the connections, were left questioning whether a miracle could extricate him from the deepening legal crisis he was facing. But the trouble for Durk didn't end there. The indictment, which brought even more troubling news, revealed shocking developments. When news of Durk's arrest broke, a rumor quickly spread that the rapper had attempted to flee the country to avoid prosecution. Initially dismissed as exaggeration, this rumor turned out to be true, adding a sinister layer to the unfolding saga. According to the latest revelations, the rapper, under investigation for his role in the plot, had indeed attempted to escape the legal consequences of his actions by leaving the country. FBI sources confirmed that the agency had been monitoring Durk for an extended period. Their surveillance efforts had even infiltrated his gang, providing law enforcement with critical insight into his every move. It was during this period of heightened surveillance that the FBI discovered that Durk had tried to leave the United States. According to the indictment, U.S. Customs and Border Protection alerted the FBI after Durk booked two one-way flights, one to Dubai and another to Switzerland, on October 24th. These flight bookings immediately raised alarm bells, indicating that Durk was trying to evade the legal consequences of the mounting indictment against him. However, the situation took a more serious turn when it was revealed that Durk had also made preparations to take a private jet from Miami with plans to land in Italy. This new information shifted the urgency of the investigation into high gear, forcing authorities to act swiftly. Although Durk never boarded the flights to Dubai or Switzerland, his plans to flee the country were unmistakably clear, signaling his desperation to escape the reach of the law. In a statement from the FBI, an assistant director emphasized the agency's vast reach and the importance of collaboration with local law enforcement. The capture of Mr. Banks as he sought to flee the United States is a testament to the exceptional efforts of the FBI and our partners at the Los Angeles Police Department. The authorities' persistence and strategic intelligence gathering ultimately closed in on Durk, further solidifying the connection between the rapper, the attack, and his attempts to avoid justice. As the investigation continues to unfold, the consequences of these revelations are far-reaching, not just for Lil Durk but for the entire network of individuals involved in this violent plot. The timing of these bookings, coupled with the serious charges facing his associates, painted a picture of a man on the run seeking refuge from the storm of legal troubles closing in on him. On the evening of Thursday, October 24th, FBI agents moved in to arrest Lil Durk at the Miami area airport. The arrest took place around 8 p.m., just an hour before his scheduled departure to Italy. The swift action by law enforcement ensured that Lil Durk would not evade justice as he was transported to Broward County Jail. So, a federal magistrate judge in Miami has ordered him jailed without bond until he is transferred to Los Angeles for arraignment. It also turns out that the FBI and LAPD's West Bureau homicide investigators learned that Durk was engaged in this terrible murder, and how they accomplished it will shock you because it turns out those involved couldn't help but brag about the hit on social media. Root cause: King Val, one of Chicago's brightest stars in the drill scene, saw his life Cut tragically short on the night of November 6, 2020, outside Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta. He was only 26, full of promise and on the brink of solidifying his name in hip-hop. But that night was the culmination of deep-seated beefs, unspoken codes, and cycles of events that have long been woven into the culture. The shooting wasn't random. It had been brewing between King Von's crew and Quando Rondo's camp, tensions that stretched back to the streets and rivalries tied to loyalty, pride, and respect. According to reports, V and his crew confronted Q's team outside the club, and what started as an argument quickly spiraled into gunfire. Mayhem ensued, leaving 3 people dead and 3 others wounded. The bullets that took V's life were from Timothy Leaks, a close buddy of Quando Rondo. Von was struck during the first exchange of gunfire, but the turmoil didn't end there. The tragic events surrounding King Von's death in Atlanta remain a stark reminder of the dangerous intersection between street culture and the music industry. On that fateful night, as witnesses scattered in every direction and bullets flew across the scene, chaos erupted. Atlanta police, who were already present, quickly had to intervene as the situation escalated. Despite their efforts, Von's crew managed to get him to a hospital in a private car. Unfortunately, it was too late. His injuries were fatal. The streets, already filled with rumors and whispers, buzzed with the shock of his sudden death. Many around the scene, including those closest to him, were left uncertain about his fate. Did you think King Von survived the shooting? One might ask. Or did you know he was gone by that point? One individual recalled, "No, I didn't know if he was gone or still alive. I didn't even know it was him at that moment." The confusion and disbelief were palpable, but what followed was an even more harrowing sequence of events that would ignite a chain reaction of violence, grief, and loyalty. As Von's lifeless body lay in the hospital, L. Tim, another individual involved in the shootout, was taken to Grady Hospital under heavy guard. While recovering from his own injuries, he was arrested and charged with Von's murder, further complicating an already explosive situation. The death of Von became a rallying cry, not just for his close friends, but for everyone who had even the faintest connection to the world he represented. Those close to Von, including Lil Durk, who was like family to him, felt a burning need for revenge. Durk was not someone who would let such a loss go unanswered, especially in the unforgiving streets of Chicago, where honor and loyalty are paramount. Whispers on the street suggested that Durk had taken matters into his own hands, allegedly offering a bounty for those responsible for Von's death. The rumors painted a vivid picture of just how deeply personal this loss was for the OTF camp. Revenge wasn't just a matter of settling a score, it was about upholding the unspoken rules of loyalty that governed their world. In this culture, allowing such a death to go unpunished was unthinkable. For Durk and his crew, retaliation was an inevitable part of the process. The cycle of violence was set in motion, and those involved knew that it wasn't a matter of if retaliation would occur, but when. The fallout from Von's death was intense, and the emotional toll weighed heavily on Durk. The music industry, now entangled with street politics, amplified the pressure. Fans and peers alike began demanding justice for Von, and the campaign for Sly for V gained traction quickly. The movement, fueled by people who barely knew Von but wanted to see bloodshed, added another layer of stress to an already volatile situation. What started as trolling online spiraled into a wave of expectation, and soon the streets were demanding that Durk take action immediately. The tension only heightened as Durk, who had always been vocal about managing his enemies through his music, faced mounting criticism for not acting swiftly. His lyrics, filled with references to handling business with his all-peace, were now being scrutinized by fans who questioned why he hadn't yet avenged Von's death. They were quick to accuse him of hypocrisy, believing that his failure to follow through on his music's promises reflected poorly on his loyalty. The pressure on Durk was immense, as he found himself trapped between his desire for revenge and the need to maintain his public persona. In response, Durk took to social media to address the growing wave of criticism. With measured frustration, he posted an Instagram story that struck a nerve with many. "You don't slide for your mans, don't kick no killer our way," he wrote. It was a direct message to the trolls who mocked him and anyone thinking of questioning his loyalty. The message was clear: Durk was not going to let his actions be dictated by the expectations of outsiders. Yet, despite his words, the pressure only intensified. Fans, street figures, and even peers continued to expect him to take action, pushing him deeper into the cycle of violence. This dynamic, however, isn't exclusive to Durk. It's a larger issue within hip-hop culture, a culture that has grown massive and now attracts a broad and diverse audience. While some fans deeply understand the struggles and complexities of the lives they listen to, there is a subset of individuals who treat these stories like entertainment. They see violence, betrayals, and feuds as part of the drama. They fail to see the devastating impact of these cycles on real people and their families. They don't care about the long-term consequences or the emotional trauma left behind. They are only interested in the headlines, the beef, and the drama that fuels their consumption of the culture. The pressure on artists like Durk is a direct result of this toxic culture, which prizes retaliation over resolution and spectacle over substance. As long as the culture continues to celebrate the idea of revenge and demands that artists live out the violent stories they rap about, the cycle of violence will persist. The tragic truth is that until the streets stop viewing violence as the only solution to loss, and until fans stop treating it like a game, this cycle of feuds, retaliations, and fatalities will continue to claim lives, leaving behind a wake of grief and destruction. For Lil Durk, the pressure to avenge Von's death became not just a personal dilemma but a reflection of the larger hip-hop world he inhabits, one where loyalty, revenge, and survival are constants. In the end, despite his efforts to navigate this treacherous world with measured responses, Durk, like so many before him, found himself deeply embedded in the very cycle of violence that claimed his close friend. The reality of street loyalty, coupled with the unforgiving nature of hip-hop culture, ensured that this tragic loss would never simply fade away. It would only fuel the next chapter in the ongoing saga of revenge. Close friend OTF Jam was one of the inner circle, a trusted ally who had been through the fire. After serving a rigorous 12-year jail term for a shooting in 2010, Jam returned home in 2022 to a warm greeting from Durk. Reports indicate Durk offered him $50,000 as a welcome home present, ensuring Jam had a new start. It was a typical Durk action, taking care of his people and providing affection to those who held it down, but according to floating reports, that loyalty wasn't mutual, man. This _ Bing guy slow, the whispering began after Durk's arrest. But what made the case messier was the talk that someone within Durk's own camp had been collaborating with the FBI, and all eyes shifted to OTF Jam. DJ professors and other online celebrities fueled the narrative, alleging Jam had been wearing a wire for years, giving information to federal authorities about Durk and OTF. 12 years later, he got out, questioned, claimed he kept it genuine, brought him vehicles, and gave him $50,000. Right, this ain't no smut on his name. He ain't never been a rat, captured a gun case, but ultimately he flipped whack 100, threw gasoline on the fire in an interview, saying Jam flipped after receiving a second gun charge following his release. However, the cycle would continue when Durk found out about Jam's collaboration with law police. He responded in a manner that made matters worse. Sources stated that Durk placed a hit out on Jam's baby mother, Octavia Redmond, who was sadly murdered down in South Chicago. Jam's collaboration with the feds cuts deeper than most punches, since it was a reminder that in this game, the biggest threats typically came from within. Lil Durk's world seemed to crumble piece by piece as the feds closed in. He tried to stay one step ahead of law enforcement, but nothing could keep him out of their reach. With the pressure mounting, they say he made a bold attempt to escape US jurisdiction. The rapper allegedly booked multiple international flights in what looked like an attempt to vanish before the feds could tighten their grip. Records revealed 2 one-way tickets, one to Dubai and another to Switzerland. Neither flight was boarded. The big move came when he booked a private plane to Italy, a pricey and strategic strategy that would have succeeded if the FBI hadn't been following his every step. The time was tight. Durk was set to board his private jet in Miami when federal agents swooped in just an hour before departure. They apprehended him, shutting down any chance of escape. It was a dramatic end to what could have been an international disappearance instead of enjoying the luxury of Italy or the seclusion of Switzerland. Durk found himself sitting in the Broward County Jail facing conspiracy charges connected to the murder. For hire claims the FBI had him wiretapped, monitored, and loaded with enough evidence to put him up. Now, the real issue is, can Durk fight the case aftermath? Lil Durk, once a hometown hero celebrated for his success and community outreach, is now watching his legacy in Chicago unravel in the wake of his high-profile arrest. Just a while ago, Durk was honored with the keys to the cities of Bellwood and Broadview, Illinois, symbols of recognition for his charitable work and his connection to the neighborhoods, but the same leaders who praised him are now distancing themselves as the fallout from his legal troubles intensifies. The backlash was swift. Broadview Mayor Katrina Thompson, who had handed Durk the key to her village just days earlier, wasted no time in revoking the honor and severing ties with his Neighborhood Heroes Foundation. Thompson explained her decision with a statement emphasizing her responsibility to uphold the recent controversy surrounding rapper Lil Durk's honor as a key figure in the community has ignited a firestorm of debate, highlighting the tensions between the rapper's philanthropic contributions and his legal troubles. Mayor Thompson, who oversees Broadview, emphasized on the village's Facebook page that the community held its residents to higher moral and ethical standards. She passionately argued that her role as mayor was to protect the interests of Broadview's residents and to uphold their core values, which she felt were being compromised by Durk's involvement in the community. However, this sentiment was not universally shared, especially by Mayor Andre Harvey of Bellwood. Mayor Harvey adopted a more cautious stance, stating that he would not revoke Durk's honorary key to the city until the legal process ran its course. Harvey's position was grounded in the fundamental legal principle that in the United States, an individual is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Though his careful approach reflected a respect for due process, it has nonetheless faced substantial backlash. Local residents and officials have voiced strong criticism, with many questioning why Durk, a figure surrounded by legal controversies, was ever given such an honor in the first place. The controversy surrounding Durk's recognition has exposed deep divisions within the community. Some, like Angela Patterson, a mayoral candidate in Broadview, voiced frustration, calling the decision to celebrate Durk poor judgment. Patterson argued that the honor bestowed upon Durk was misplaced, especially considering the rapper's well-documented legal troubles and the controversy surrounding his past actions. For many, honoring Durk stood in stark contrast to the values they believed the community should prioritize, values like integrity, community service, and moral responsibility.